Right now on Fox 43 Featured, the conclave has elected American Robert Prevost to be the next pope. Local reactions to the announcement of Pope Leo XIV. Plus, Dauphin County Commissioner George Hartwick appeared at his first commissioners meeting since he was charged with DUI last month. Why he says he's not resigning. And Real ID enforcement is officially in effect. What you need to know if you still need to get yours and why PennDOT officials say you shouldn't panic. Welcome to Fox 43 Featured. I'm Sedona Meadows. We're bringing you some of the week's top stories, including the Catholic community here in the U.S. They're celebrating the election of a new Pope, Leo XIV. Fox 43's James Corrigan spoke with the Bishop of the Harrisburg Diocese, who says the new Pope is a great fit.
It was a moment many thought would never come. An American elected Pope of the Catholic Church in the form of Pope Leo XIV.
Everybody was surprised. I think people were moved to tears when they realized that an American had been elected Pope.
Harrisburg Diocese Bishop Timothy Sr. says the idea of an American Pope had been hard to swallow for other nations in the past due to the negative perception of Americans worldwide.
I think Americans are not necessarily understood in other parts of the world as maybe misrepresented sometimes by our, the perception that we're very highly materialistic.
For the former Cardinal Robert Prevost, who was born and raised in Chicago, Senior says the values of self-determination the country was built on could help inform his leadership.
We have, as part of our government and our culture, the dignity of every person. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal, and I think he will have that perspective from the importance of democracy and his experience of the culture of the United States.
What the bishop thinks will guide the new pontiff the most is the leadership of his predecessor. Pope Francis's papacy was defined by his advocacy in issues such as climate change, the rights of migrants, and global conflicts such as the war in Gaza. Senior believes Pope Leo will continue that advocacy as the new leader and face of the Roman Catholic Church.
We're supposed to be engaged in the affairs of this world, to be God's instruments in transforming the world and transforming the culture, building the kingdom of God. And I really believe that's where the church needs to be.
James Corrigan, Fox 43 News.
In Dauphin County, Commissioner George Hartwick attended his first commissioners meeting since being charged with DUI last month. He says he does not plan to step down despite calls for him to do so. Hartwick says he has been in an inpatient rehab program since the incident and just earned his 30-day sobriety chip this week. He's accused of damaging his county-issued vehicle back on April 2nd, then slurring his words during a commissioners meeting later that day. Court documents show he told police he drank half a bottle of vodka before the incident.
I believe the best way to show the power of recovery, self-help, and community-based care is to continue in my role, to inspire others who are also battling alcohol or mental health challenges.
Hartwick is banned from driving any county vehicles, but will be reimbursed for using his own vehicle for his position. He's scheduled for a preliminary hearing on June 2nd. Pennsylvania's newest state senator has been sworn into the General Assembly.
And I will discharge my duties.
I will discharge my duties.
With fidelity.
With fidelity.
Congratulations, Senator.
Democrat James Malone was sworn into his new position this week. Malone beat Republican Lancaster County Commissioner Josh Parsons for the 36th District Senate seat in a special election in March. Malone took over the seat after Republican Ryan Aument resigned to work for U.S. Senator Dave McCormick. State officials are making sure Pennsylvanians are ready for the upcoming primary election. Secretary of the Commonwealth Al Schmidt gave an update reminding people of important dates and tips ahead of the May 20th primary. Because the Commonwealth has a closed primary, only registered Democrats and Republicans can vote for their party's nominees. The secretary stressed while this may be an off-year election, every election is important.
Not only is every election important, but municipal elections are particularly important, where voters are choosing among candidates who are closest to home, who likely have the biggest impact on their everyday lives.
And with the election closing in, here are some important dates to keep in mind. May 13th at 5 p.m. is the official deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot. County elections offices must receive mail-in ballots by 8 p.m. on election night. Now we have a breakdown of candidates in big local races and details you need to know before heading to the polls on fox43.com. Meanwhile, in Dauphin County, election leaders there showed off how they're getting ready for the upcoming primary in Harrisburg. Officials gave demonstrations on how poll workers are trained. That includes showing off the process of checking poll books and highlighting exceptions that may cause someone to use a provisional ballot. Now, election leaders say these trainings are crucial.
It allows all of our poll workers to ask questions. A lot of times they're teaching me as much as I am teaching them, going through all the processes that need to happen. They help me to improve any of the processes, redirect training.
7 training sessions are held at 3 different locations throughout the county. Dauphin County says it employs about 1,200 poll workers each election. PennDOT offices in Cumberland County are dealing with long waits as Real ID enforcement started across the country this week. FOX43's Matt Kleinens spoke with people getting their IDs and answers the most frequently asked questions about Real ID.
People are flocking to their local driver's license centers with papers in hand to secure their brand new Real IDs.
I've been here from 12:37 and I just got called around close to 3.
Hundreds of people waited for hours at the PennDOT Driver's License Center in East Pennsboro Township as the U.S. begins its Real ID enforcement. Many people say they're getting Real ID in preparation for the TSA line at the airport.
I was concerned, like, oh my gosh, we need to get as soon as possible.
I'm going on a trip in like 2-3 weeks, something like that, to Florida, so I need a Real ID to go fly somewhere, and I didn't want to carry my passport around.
Going forward, people will be required to show Real ID in order to board a domestic flight. The Department of Homeland Security says those without Real ID will still be allowed to fly after receiving extra screening.
The goal is the staff is not to prevent anyone from flying today. However, there could be delays or things like that getting to your flight, especially if there's 4, 5, 6, 7 people all at once showing up that aren't prepared.
DHS adds that people will need to show Real ID to enter federal facilities like military bases as well as nuclear power plants. Amy Inama with PennDOT says Pennsylvanians have the option to get either Real ID or a passport and do not have to have Real ID to drive or vote.
You don't need a Real ID to drive, vote, access hospitals, visit the post office, access federal courts, or apply for and receive federal benefits.
As federal enforcement begins, PennDOT officials say they will continue helping people become Real ID compliant.
We're going to have 57 centers open, and all we're going to be doing is processing Real IDs.
Matt Kleinens, FOX43 News.
Workers at a steel mill in Dauphin County are fighting the threat of a massive layoff, which would leave more than 500 Pennsylvanians without jobs. FOX43's Cindy Nauman spoke to workers and union officials in Steelton about navigating the pause on production and the next steps in saving their jobs and the community.
For the past 17 years, steelworker Bill Keister has done the same job at the same steel mill in Dauphin County. But he says walking into his plant this week felt different.
Everyone's scared.
The plant's parent company, Cleveland Cliffs, announced plans Friday to idle 3 locations, including Steelton's rail manufacturing plant. The pause in production comes in response to a weakened demand for the products made at the mills. The president of the Steelworkers Union Local 1688 says there's still hope despite the indefinite idle.
We maintain a crew there to make sure that, like in the winter, things don't freeze, lines don't break. So there's a possibility of restarting.
But even a future restart wouldn't prevent the estimated 559 Pennsylvanians from losing their jobs by the end of June. And while union officials say this isn't the first time the plant has faced profitability issues, it's the first time production has ever been paused, paired with a lack of communication from Cleveland Cliffs.
Those preceding companies reached out to us ahead of time to see if collectively we could address, identify, and resolve some of those profitability issues. This time, we got a notice. You're idled.
The wide-reaching loss of income affects more than just employees like Keister.
They count on us. They count on us as a community. So we want to pull together to help Steelton keep Steelton open, because this is really going to hurt them if the mill closes.
Steelton's Mayor Sierra Dent has called the idle a wake-up call to stabilize our community and begin the work of building economic resilience beyond a single industry. For more than a century, the mill has served as the foundation for the surrounding community. Now that community must come together to support the industry that gave Steelton its start.
We are not giving up.
Union officials are calling on the community and community leaders for support as they work to find a solution for Steelton.
We are reaching out to the company to reverse its decision to idle the plant.
It's going to be a fight. I think we're going to win.
Sydney Nauman, Fox 43 News.
Legalizing marijuana in Pennsylvania now lies in the hands of the state Senate after a new bill passed the state House. After the break, why some Republicans say the bill is dead on arrival. The State House has passed a bill that would legalize recreational marijuana in the Commonwealth. The bill now heads to the Republican-controlled state Senate, where it faces a less certain future. Fox 43's James Corrigan spoke with lawmakers on both sides of the issue and shares what makes this bill different from others across the country.
Majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes.
With that, State House Bill 1200 to legalize recreational marijuana in the Commonwealth passed the House by one vote, with all 102 Democrats supporting and all 101 Republicans opposing. The vote came after a lengthy debate over safety and financial benefits, with supporters saying the criminalization of marijuana has had far-reaching consequences for both social justice and public safety, while opponents say legalizing what they believe to be a dangerous substance could lead to severe personal consequences.
Marijuana, very clearly, is less dangerous than tobacco or alcohol, both of which are legal and regulated. And marijuana also, the prohibition of marijuana, has led to serious health consequences.
This bill is about legalizing an industry whose highly potent product is known to impair judgment, reduce productivity, increase addictions.
The bill would create a first-in-the-nation program to sell cannabis at state-owned dispensaries through the Liquor Control Board system with regulated small business opportunities. Republican opponents say any bill with this system is, quote, dead on arrival in the Senate, while the Democratic authors of the bill say the method would make purchasing safer and bring in more tax revenue.
Consumers can trust that when they go into a store to purchase cannabis, there's a uniform standard for labeling and potency.
It's a bad idea. 76% of the population already believes that the Liquor Control Board does a bad job selling liquor, and now we're going to triple the size of it.
With all but one bordering state having already legalized recreational cannabis, Democrats say Pennsylvania is losing out on revenue, while Republicans say the state itself should not be in the marijuana selling business.
We are losing public dollars and we are ruining lives with outdated laws that prolong our failed war on drugs.
This is about the state entering the business of selling marijuana in order to balance an over-bloated budget. That's not the right reason to make these decisions.
Now, the bill will face an uncertain future in the Republican-controlled Senate, with Democrats imploring their counterparts to act on this long-standing issue. We know that administration officials have been briefed by health committee leaders about the contents of this bill. Those leaders say it was received positively, and it could be down to negotiations between Governor Shapiro and Senate leadership to determine whether this bill will become law. At the Capitol in Harrisburg, I'm James Corrigan with Fox 43 News.
York leaders are working to beautify parts of their new outdoor dining initiative. A crew was out this week painting the concrete barriers along North George Street, a bright blue color. City leaders have opted not to close the street for outdoor dining on weekends like they have in years prior since the COVID-19 pandemic. Instead, restaurants will be able to provide outdoor dining along the sidewalks, with the barriers acting as a safeguard from the road. Some community members have said the barriers are an eyesore. Volunteers in Central PA are paying tribute to former President Jimmy Carter with a special build for Habitat for Humanity. How they're honoring his legacy of humanitarian work. And Fox 43 and the American Red Cross are teaming up for another blood drive. It's May 22nd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the York JCC. Appointments are encouraged, but walk-ins are welcome. For more information or to make your appointment, head to redcrossblood.org/Fox43. Just over 4 months after the death of former President Jimmy Carter, volunteers in Lebanon County are paying tribute to the man who helped hundreds of people construct a place to call home. Fox 43's Sydney Nauman spoke to the individuals participating in the project and shares how the legacy of Carter is living on in an unexpected way.
Under a layer of sawdust, one Lebanon house is becoming a historic home.
It's great to see the project really come to life.
The project is part of a build by the Lancaster Lebanon Habitat for Humanity and forewoman Sonia Quinones' fifth build.
I did that one start to finish. Kenya's house, start to finish. Evelise's house. That's 4 houses now.
For the last 3 years, opening the door for others to build and buy a house of their own has been part of Sonia's life.
This is what I like to do. I'm on a daily basis helping other people. So it's like after even work. Like after work, I'm just giving back.
And now, as a first-time home buyer herself, she says this build means more.
Once you do good, blessings always come back to you. And this time it is for me.
Seeing the project through from start to finish to settling in.
I can see myself in that house.
But there's still a lot of work to be done before Sonia can move in July.
Today we're wrapping up a lot of the door casing, hanging some interior doors.
The door to Sonia's future guest room, preserving the history of former President Jimmy Carter.
It's just unique to have this project going on at the same time. The passing of President Carter, people were invited to sign kind of their well wishes to the new home buyer, and then we were able to hang that door in Sonia's house here as kind of a forever memorial to not only the Jimmy Carter, but the program as a whole.
While the graffiti from residents of Lancaster and Lebanon counties will eventually be painted over, the legacy of Carter and his own dedication to helping others will live on through the now historic home and Sonia.
I mean, I do what Jim Carter does too. I'd like to help our future homeowners, to have a safe home. And now other volunteers are helping me, and that feels good too.
Preserving history through community while beginning a new future. Sydney Nauman, Fox 43 News.
I believe the future of fashion is with people like me.
Bringing new life to secondhand clothing. In this week's On the Bright Side, how one Harrisburg-based designer is catching the eye of a pop icon with their sustainable and out-of-the-box designs.
A Harrisburg designer with a focus on sustainable fashion is seeing their creations reach a global stage. And this week's On the Bright Side, we'll show you how one piece caught a major pop icon's attention and led to a moment in the spotlight.
My foundation is unorthodox. It's kind of rebelling against the uniformity.
Gen Z clothing designer Cloudy Joby has taken the fashion world by storm, channeling the spirit of their childhood and their love for the earth.
I hope that people feel like they're in the sky or like they're in the clouds or they're deeply connected to themselves and nature and their form of expression.
Born and raised in Harrisburg, Joby learned to hand sew in 2nd grade and only became acquainted with the sewing machine at 19 years old.
When I was younger, I would cut up my clothes and I would get in trouble for it, and I didn't know why. It was bad to cut up clothes.
Joby's grown a lot since then, and so has their brand. They participated in every New York Fashion Week since 2022.
Every single year, I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything. Something always pops up and someone's always reaching out to me, which is nice to have a community of people who see you and to have a spotlight on you when you're doing a lot of hard work and you want to make a change and be heard and be seen.
Bringing new life into secondhand clothing, Joby reimagines them.
It's the best for humans to reuse and be sustainable as possible, especially now.
And one of those pieces made its way into the hands of one of the biggest and brattiest pop divas around. Charli XCX.
At first, it didn't feel real.
Their partner is to thank for the connection.
He was like, you have to answer your phone because you'll never guess who's on the line. It's Charli and my friend. They want you to send a skirt or pieces that you have.
Charli XCX wore Joby's pink utopian pixie miniskirt on tour in London. It's been seen by hundreds of thousands of fans.
It picked up the spark again for my creative kind of lifestyle.
And Joby says this is just the beginning of a revolution in the art of design.
I believe the future of fashion is with people like me and young designers who have a vision, who have a brand, who have big ideas that they think about every day. And we're going to keep pursuing them because it's our purpose.
For more information on Joby's designs, you can just head on over to our website at fox43.com. As always, if you have some good news or something you'd like to share, email me at gmediac@fox43.com. On the bright side, I'm Gabrielle Mediac.
Labor and delivery units at some local hospitals are in the Mother's Day spirit this week. UPMC McGee Women's Hospitals are dressing newborn babies in yellow onesies with ice cream cone hats, calling them McGee's sweetest treats. All of the outfits are crocheted by hospital volunteers.
They're very excited. They love the onesie idea and the sweetest treat because a baby is a sweet treat. You know, it's something that you will hold dear for the rest of their life.
4 hospitals in South Central PA are part of the UPMC McGee Women's Network. Well, that's it for this featured show. Thanks for spending part of your day with us.